Good morning, Derby fans. This is Greg's Racing Report. Today is the 140th running of the Kentucky Derby, and this is my 57th racing report. Yeah, it feels like I've been doing this since I've been 5 years old. Maybe this year I'll get it right. There are 19 horses entered in this Derby. 7 of them have won their last race. 5 others took a second. There's only 2 trainers in this race that have won the Derby before, Todd Pletcher and Bob Baffert. Todd has 4 horses entered in this race. 6 of the jockeys, 6 of the 19, have won the Derby before. Now there's only one horse, Intense Holiday, that is trained by a trainer and ridden by a jockey that have won the Derby. And I happen to like him a little bit. I'll talk about him in a minute. So let's get on to the races. Let's talk about the preps. Let's start with the Bluegrass Stakes. The Bluegrass Stakes run in Keeneland is on the Poly track. Out of that race, we have a couple entrants. 4. Harry's Holiday. Harry's Holiday has worked terrible at Churchill Downs, and we won't consider him. There's Metal Count and Visceramus. Both of those look like polytrack specialists and just average horses on the dirt, so toss them. The horse that's of interest is Dance with Fate. He's the one that won the race. Now he looks like very much like a poly horse, but the way he runs, he's very versatile, and he won the race pretty impressively, but he's also the most accomplished horse at the grade 1 level, and he's fast. So I do like him, and I like him a lot. Let's move on to the Arkansas Derby. I don't like any of the horses in the Arkansas Derby. Danza, the one that won, looked like a fluke. Horses don't repeat flukes in the Derby. There's Ride on Curlin. His workouts at Churchill, he's looked terrible also, so toss him. And then we have Tapichor. Tapichor looked like a pretty decent horse, but he only finished 4th in a field that didn't have anything much to beat. So I won't consider any of those horses. And we have the Florida Derby. We have Wicked Red and General A-Rod. I happened to bet that race. I bet the winner, who is not entered in the Derby, he only raced 2 times. So I didn't really like either of these horses to win that race, although they're pretty good horses. Now, Wicked Red has looked very bad at Churchill. Doesn't look like he likes the dirt there. Is not taken to the track, so we won't consider him. And General A-Rod, the big question on him is, can he go 1.25 miles? Distance is his setback. The Louisiana Derby. Now, in the Louisiana Derby, we have 2 horses that we want to talk about here. Victor in Trouble. And the other horse is Intense Holiday, who I mentioned before. Now, Victor in Trouble, that was my top pick in that race. I gave him the Whitey, and Whitey cashed big time on that. The other horse I did like was Intense Holiday, and I bet a little on him also. Victor in Trouble won the race, and Intense Holiday came in 2nd. Now, Victor in Trouble had the race pretty much to himself that day. He controlled the pace and set a pretty leisurely pace. So it wasn't as impressive as it looked. Now the thing about Victor in Trouble is, 1, he's not looked good at Churchill. He doesn't look like he's taken to the dirt surface there either. And he's got the 1 post, which is a big, big negative, although they have moved the stalls 1 over because of a couple scratches. But he's going to have to go for the lead, and he's going to have to, try to get out of that gate and gain position, or else he'll fall way behind. So he's very much compromised today. But Intense Holiday, I do like. I think he's coming on at the right time. His problem in the Louisiana Derby, he probably would have won that race had he changed leads coming down the stretch, but he didn't. Now, he has in the past, and he seems to have corrected that in his workouts since. So with that, you should see a better performance out of Intense Holiday. But the big knock on him is he hasn't really impressed greatly in any of his prior races. In fact, he wasn't running too all that well, just average. But he might be at the right place at the right time. Now the Santa Anita Derby. Santa Anita Derby has a favorite, California Chrome. California Chrome won his last 4 races and won them big time, like by 5 lengths on average. And he's coming into this race, the Derby favorite. He was the initial horse I looked at and I liked, but as you look at him a little closer, he's not going to be able to run that kind of race today, likely, unless he's not challenged by some of the other speed in the race. But the big thing that threw me off California Chrome is that he's a California bred. And California breds have not won a Derby since, I think, like 1942. But on top of that, his breeding is real suspect. So coupling those two things together, I'm going to pass on California Chrome, the favorite. And you guys probably looking at me saying, what? Greg's going to pass on the favorite? What's up with that? And then there's Candy Boy. Candy Boy came in 3rd in that race. He tried to run with California Chrome, which wasn't his real style, and that compromised his chance in the last race. He ended up finishing a distant 3rd. But I do like him a bit. If you toss that race out, he's looked very solid before that, and we'll have to, he's versatile. He can come from way back. He can stay up reasonably close to the pace. So you gotta like those credentials. Now the Wood Memorial. Out of the Wood, there's 2 horses I want to talk about. One is Wicked Strong. Wicked Strong won that race. He came on big time and won it by several lengths. He looks like he might be, again, the horse at the right place at the right time. Before that, he didn't look all that well. He went off 9-1 in that race in the Wood. And his times are really good. His closing times are good. But the thing about Wicked Red is he is going to come from way back, and he's going to need a good pace up front, and he's going to need some help getting through traffic. But I do like Wicked Red very much, and he's worked excellent. He's looked marvelous. He's looked like a $10 million horse at Churchill Downs. And then there's Samurai. Samurai came in 2nd in the Wood behind Wicked Red. And what happened there was he had come off, he had been undefeated before that. So he had been leading up to this race, which is his most challenged. And he came through fairly well. He actually fell back a little bit, but then came on and took a solid 2nd in that race, although he was passed by Wicked Red big time. But you got to respect a horse that goes undefeated. The little knock against him is he hasn't looked overly impressive at Churchill in his morning workouts. He just looks so-so. But again, a horse that's won that many races, you got to give him a bit of respect going in. And I like him a little bit because Andy likes him. Andy Serling likes him, wants to give him a shot. He's a New York bred, by the way. And last horse I want to mention is this Chichu horse. He won the Sunland Derby out at Sunland Park. He's only ran about 4 times. He's run very good all the time. So he's done nothing wrong. He's been there all throughout. But if you know that track at all, it's a speed track. And he's a speed type horse. So the big drawback on him is that he doesn't appear to have the closing kick needed to win the 1.25 mile distance of the Derby. He could surprise us and be there and step up to the challenge, but he's not done that yet. So that's my wrap. Now, of all those horses I mentioned, I'll say the ones I like the most are Candy Boy, Samurai, what was that other horse? Wicked Strong, and I like Intense Holiday a little bit. You know my track record at the Derby, so I can't win with one horse. I'm gonna bet two. I'll go with Dance with Fate and Wicked Red to win the Roses, and perhaps it'll be a dead heat, maybe the first time in Derby history, and I'll be there for you guys. Well, anyway, that's my wrap. You got two choices. Go with me, bet who I like, or if you're smart, go bet somebody else. I'll see you at the winner's circle.